This was home last night, the Carlo coal shelter. I was the only one here, me and the mice. There were some bold mice scurrying around right before I went to bed, but I didn't hear or see them at all last night while I was sleeping, so that was nice. But I was the only one here. It was nice and warm and dry, pretty nice shelter, double decker, probably could sleep 15 in here if you had to. Like I said, it rained pretty good. It seems to have stopped. I'm just procrastinating because the sun is supposed to come out at some point. And I've got Mahoosuc Notch in about 6 miles or so. So I'm hoping by the time I get there, the sun will have dried things out just a little bit anyway. Probably wishful thinking, but really not thrilled about doing that and some of the other difficult stuff in this section on wet rocks. So I'll hang around here, do morning chores, get something to eat, get some water before I head out. It's about 7:30 now, so I'll head out about 8:30 or 9. And I think I've got a couple different shelters I could pick from. One, if it's really bad, I think in like 6 miles before the notch. Another one at like 10 miles after the notch. So doesn't look too bad out there now. I think I'm gonna have to venture forth here on day, 145. This was Carlo coal shelter. You can see bear box down there, which is nice. Kind of nice having my own private shelter. That's a first. Well, me and the mice anyway, semi-private. Nice and dry and warm. And not raining right now. Gonna get some water and head out. One nice thing with the rain last night, this is the water source. And it's just a trickle, but believe it or not, with the rain, that's where you fill up. That's gushing compared to last night. Probably took me, I don't know, 15 minutes to get 2 liters last night, and this morning only a couple of minutes, so that's nice. I almost thought I wasn't going to be able to collect water last night, which would have really been disappointing. But managed to get it, but it was a lot easier this morning, that's for sure. Shelter is back up that way. Not going to be much video today. This is what it looks like. I'm going to see the sun. You see the rebar steps, and then see the vertical blaze right there. Not sure what that's all about. Gotta be some way up there though. Oh, this is the beginning of Mahoosuc Notch. They say the hardest mile on the AT or the funnest mile. I'm guessing as wet as everything is, it's not gonna be the funnest mile for me. But I also don't think there's going to be a lot of video going through it, unfortunately. But I bet if you put it into Google, if you're not familiar with it, M-A-H-O-O-S-U-C, Notch, Mahoosuc Notch. You'll find plenty of pictures and information as it starts to mist. Oh, it's going to be a fun mile. I'll see you on the other side. That's where I came from. Twice now I've had to take off my pack to sort of wiggle through a hole or almost like a tunnel underneath the rocks. And I don't know if I'm halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, almost through. But it's not easy, I know that, with the wet rocks. This is a good example. As the arrow points down and under. Been at it well over an hour. I think I'm only a little more than halfway through. That'll do it for day 145. I am definitely beat. I think I did maybe just 7 or 8 miles today. Mahoosuc Notch, I'm camped just on the north end of it. I think Mahoosuc Notch is like a mile long, and it took me, I think, like 2 hours, and it was really intense. Probably would have been a little more fun, enjoyable, if it wasn't raining and all the rocks weren't wet. But with everything being wet and it started raining right as I started it, it made it difficult, I guess is a nice word. I could think of other words to use, but it was really, really hard. But it's over with, and just making some dinner, and then I'm going to bed. I think I've got 7 or 8 miles tomorrow to Grafton Notch, I think it's called. So that will do it. You can see everything's wet and hanging up, including my socks. See you tomorrow. I'm just about to leave my campsite here at, I think it's called Bull Branch Campsite on day 146. I didn't have a fire. I'm just at the end of Mahoosuc Notch, like I said yesterday, which means a notch is sort of like a gap down south, a valley between two mountains, or a gap between two mountains. A little bit of useless trivia for you this morning. A notch is what they call it, I guess, here in northern New England. And it's so named because back in settler days with an axe, they cut down trees and the axe made a notch. And they thought that these valleys looked like those notches in the wood. So that is why it's Mahoosuc Notch and Crawford Notch and Franconia Notch and Pinkham Notch, because the settlers thought it looked like a notch in the wood when they cut it with their axe. So there you go, day 146, useless trivia. But what that means is, just like a gap, you got to climb out of it. And so now I have what they call Mahoosuc Arm, which is, I think, a 1,500 or 2,000 foot climb in a mile. And that's what I didn't want to do last night when I was tired after going through Mahoosuc Notch. So I think it'll be a little bit better, hopefully, with fresh legs this morning. So I'm ready to go. There's a great view of the notch. Mahoosuc Notch, that's what I came through yesterday afternoon. I think I'm almost to the top, it's that way. I think that is Sunday River ski area in the distance there too. This is just a little bit after the last video, but in the opposite direction. That, I believe, is Old Speck Mountain. You can just see the fire tower on top there. It's about to go in the clouds. Heading up that next. A better view of the ski area, I guess the golf course. Sunday River, I think. I'm almost done with day 146. Headed down to Grafton Notch. Just a long descent from Old Speck Mountain. It's another piece of trivia, third highest mountain in Maine. And the part going up right before the summit on the, I guess it would be the south side, but the opposite side that I'm on now. Man, steep, exposed. The only good thing was I wouldn't want to have done it in the rain. I certainly wouldn't want to have had to go down it like southbound thru hikers do. Man. It was the steepest, most exposed thing yet. Anyway, just another half mile to Grafton Notch, which will wrap up the day. Tough section, tough 3 days, 16 miles the first day, which actually wasn't too bad.
and just 7 and a bit yesterday through Mahoosuc Notch, and 7 today. So to give you some idea, 7 miles yesterday took me, I waited out the rain in the morning a little bit, but I started at 9 and finished about, I don't know, 5:30 or so to do 7 miles. So 8.5 hours or something like that, something crazy, 8 hours to do 7 miles. And today I started, I don't know, 7:30, and I'll be done by noon with the same 7 miles. Or not the same 7 miles, different terrain. Gives you some idea of the difficulty of yesterday. So that'll be nice. I have a Nero today, pretty tired and a little bit beat up. A few bumps and bruises. Didn't take any falls though, so that's good.